Oh, shoot.
Whatever you want. I got it. Come on.
Whatever you want, I got it. Baby, let me give it to you. Whatever you need, I got it. You need to know anything you need, just ask and I'll provide. Whatever you want, I got it, got it, got it, got it.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Looking for Love. We are back in the building, and we are here with our special guest again. They came back for week number 2 just for you. If this is your first time here, we're here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. My name is Trey Kearney. I'm your host. This is my co-host,
Lamar Hall.
And our special guest, ladies first,
Fila Antwine
and
Dr. L.
And we are here to bridge the gap between Generation X men and Generation X women and end the gender war. So how was everybody's week? Lamar, how was your week?
Going good, going good. How about everybody else?
Good, good. We're here. Listen,
Hot.
No need to complain, right?
Oh, Dr. L, hot. Yes.
Yeah, I heard it's hot in that area. It's hotter there than it is in here in Texas.
It was crazy right now. It's
Crazy.
The roads is buckling. Like the roads is buckling. So
Yeah.
this show
They were
about
cooking eggs outside on the street.
you literally could. Like,
Yeah.
yes. So this show about to be about as hot as New Jersey and New York, Connecticut, and the tri-state area. So y'all get ready, get ready, get ready. If you are here right now, we would love to see your comments in the chat when we get to our first segment, which is What Would You Do? And then we move on to our Let's Sip on That. That is our celebrity relationship conversation. Then we do our Beauty and the Beast segment where we give you a health and wellness tip of the week. And then we give you our final thoughts and we send you on your way and hope that you'll come back and see us next week. We know you will. And if you're enjoying the show, there's a super button that says thank you. You can click that button. You can make a donation. We take small donations and large donations. But if you're enjoying yourself, it keeps us going. So we're going to get right into our What Would You Do segment. And in this segment, our viewers ask us questions and we answer them honestly on what we would do. And this is just what we would do. So whatever you do is up to you and it has nothing to do with us. So let's get to our first question. Y'all ready? I know y'all ready. My husband keeps accusing me of cheating. I have never and will never cheat on my husband. I shared with him when we were dating that in my first marriage, I had cheated on my ex-husband because he was there, but emotionally unavailable. How do I convince him that I'm not a cheater anymore? And did I make a mistake telling him in the dating stage?
I'll let the fellas handle this one.
Fellas, how does she convince him that she's not cheating anymore?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if you can do that. I think that bridge is burned, quite honestly.
You think the bridge is burned?
Well, yeah, it's different from how men cheat and how women cheat. You know, men, it's not all of that, attachment. Women, when y'all cheat, y'all like that person. Y'all, so that's why men take it a little different.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you do. Women don't have casual sexual partners like that. You tend to like him. He talked to you for 6 months at the gym or 10 months at your job or something like that, and you go, okay, I'll throw you something.
The climate has changed. Go ahead, Fila.
I'm just gonna say, because I want to stay on topic, right? You cannot convince anyone to believe anything about you in a relationship. So let's put that out there first. If you're trying to convince someone, because they have trust issues, that's really a them concern and something that he has to work on. So it could be that he feels uncomfortable and insecure because she shared with him that she had cheated. And so he may not have the trust within that dynamic. It could also be that he's out there doing something himself and he feels like she may be doing the same thing. Either way, it's a breakdown of trust within the relationship. And that's what they have to work on. Rebuilding trust between the two of them, not convincing anyone of anything else.
And
okay,
go ahead, Dr. L.
So I can hear that to a certain extent, but this is the beginning stages, and you tell me something like that you stepped out in the beginning stages, for me, it's done. Whether you want to call it my own insecurities or trust issues or whatever, that's fine. But I'm certainly not going to engage with someone who has that type of propensity. I'm not going to do that. I think that the vast majority of men would not. In particular, I agree with Lamar. That's why I'm here again, because we just know that, or at least we believe. I think somebody's going to disagree with this, that the times have changed. That generally ladies cheat because they like this guy.
Well, I think that's fair, but her husband chose to marry her. So he didn't take your position. He said, I'm going to choose to trust you, choose to marry you. So they both have some responsibility within a relationship to now move past whatever they did in the beginning of it.
Wait, let me say
I question why he did it, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
But let me say something, Dr. L, to you. So her being honest in the beginning of the relationship, you would want to punish a person for their honesty. And we talk about this all the time, me and Lamar, that we have open conversations in the beginning of our dating to make sure that we get it all out, right? And you would want a person to be honest with you and say, I've stepped out in the past, because truth be told, most people have, whether they tell you or not. So to be honest is a refreshing thing for me. And another thing, for you to say, if that was the case and a woman came to you, we're in our 50s, right? So anybody listening, this is adult conversation. We cater to an older crowd. Most people you run into have cheated. I cheated on my husband, and I'm not that same person that I was when I cheated on him when I was 35. I'm 55 years old. Like, some things I learned along the journey, not only about life, but about myself, that I did not know about myself when first of all, I should have never got married at 21, which was a whole nother thing. But I'm not the same person. So for you to judge a woman based on the fact that she would have a conversation and be open and transparent and naked and vulnerable with you, and you would punish me for that, like if me and you on a date, you say, why'd you let marriage end? And I said, because I stepped out on my husband 25 years ago. And you would be like, oh, that's it. See, I wouldn't want to be you.
Not 25 years. I mean, if we're dating and it's been 6 months, yeah, I'm gonna dodge that one. But you've done the work. I cheated in mine as well, and I lead with it, and sometimes when I date. But again, the perception of a man doing it, I don't think any woman is like untouchable, because most men have cheated. So it's like, I don't think the sting is as harsh. But when it's a woman, because the other factors that she probably liked this guy, it's a little different.
I think 85% of people our age, and I'll look up the statistics now that we're talking about this, but I think 85% of people 45 and over at some point in their life have cheated. That's just what I think. I don't think I'm going to run into any man in my life right now, for whatever reason he may have cheated, and we said that cheating is a choice, but for whatever reason he made that choice, I'm not going to punish him for a choice that he made. If Lamar told me he cheated on his wife, we would have a conversation, and I would be like, oh, okay, well, what have you done to work on yourself? And I know Lamar's worked on himself, but that would be the conversation. But if he said, I didn't do nothing, it is what it is, it happened back then, and then I'm skeptical to say, so how did you work that out? You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe that once a cheater, always a cheater.
But you're absolutely right, Trey. But what men, and we're not saying it's right, we understand that there's a lot more dynamics that go into it that's going to make us think a little more next level to it and go, I don't know if I really want to deal with that, depending on the time period. So we don't know, is it been 6 months since you've been married? It's been 10 years, 20? We don't know the time limit, but that's what a man is going to process first. So
I think that's what men say, but I really think the problem comes because men have more bravado and more ego. So you say, I don't want to be with a woman who cheated because it's about the emotional aspect and all that. But I think a lot of the times it's really about the perception. What will that mean to me as a man if a woman cheats on me? And I think men kind of get caught in their ego a lot of the times. But if you've decided I'm going to marry this woman and we're already married, and now you're still having that issue, like the caller said, then they need to do some deep work like within the marriage, because they've already jumped in. They've already made the decision, we're going to do this. So she gets to ask her husband, what can I do to help you feel more comfortable, not convince him? And then perhaps they need to see a professional. They may need to have a counselor or a mediator to help the two of them move through that, because we're already out of that, like, I'm opting out phase. Like they're locked in now. They've made a commitment.
Agree.
I agree. If you've made that commitment, then you got to do some work on yourself. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And the other part of the question was, is it a mistake to tell someone when you're dating them that you've stepped out before? And we can all answer that. Do you think that's just something you should keep to yourself in order not to be judged down the line? Because as humans, a lot of us will regurgitate that in the middle of an argument, or if you disappear, or if things don't look the way they're supposed to look, like, oh, I know she said in her first marriage she cheated, so could she be stepping out right now? So is it a good idea? I'll tell people if I date somebody and they ask me why my marriage ended, I'm painfully honest. Or, they can go on social media, because I wrote a book about it. Like the hit, here it goes. So is it wise, Fila, from a standpoint of a woman's perspective? Do you think it's wise to be that honest?
I do think, and I think that that's the easiest time period to be honest, in the beginning, because you don't really have anything to lose, and you get to see whether or not this person is going to make space for your humanity. If you go in the relationship telling lies and not being human, you're going to have to do that throughout the entire process. So I say tell the truth. I'm brutally honest. I'm upfront. And if you can't accept all of that, then we're not supposed to be together.
I agree. I lead with the truth anyway, because I want to see how you're going to react. So
exactly right. Like, can you handle it?
Yeah. So that's like Dr. L said. If that's your thing, if you think once a cheater, always a cheater, then you shouldn't date a person that's been open and honest with you, because it's going to show up. Like, it really is, because a person's not going to pick their phone up one night, or a person's going to be out longer than they said they were, or a person, if you're looking for something, you're going to find it, period. So if your mantra is once a cheater, always a cheater, when somebody has that conversation with you, like Dr. L said, I don't do that. So I'm going to have to let you go. And I respect that, because I wouldn't want you to be in the back of your mind like, she cheated. I just might as well wait for the guillotine to drop. So if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New U Nation Network YouTube channel. Right now, we're doing our What Would You Do segment, where we answer our viewers' questions. And we're going to get to our viewers' question, another viewer's question right now. My wife wants my passcodes to everything. I believe it's an invasion of my privacy. I trust my wife, so her passcodes are not required. I don't feel like I should feed into her insecurities. I believe that's something that she has to work on within herself. It's causing friction in the home. What's the solution?
We have all of each other's passcodes. That's how we operate in my home, right? And I've never asked for them, but maybe there comes a time where you need it. Here's the code to this, the code to that, in case you need it. Or if you pick up your husband's phone and you have to say, hey, babe, what's the code every time? It really depends on the couple. But I think if there's nothing to hide, you give the code. If you don't have any reason to hide anything, you give the code and she gives the phone back, and that's it. I think men make such a big deal out of the whole, like, you're invading my privacy. Meanwhile, you are in my whole entire body. Okay? So let's be
invading your privacy
about what's happening here.
I definitely agree. You should give the code. Just give the codes. I mean, there could be an emergency. You know, I had really major surgery one time, and I made sure that she had everything. So in case something happened, just I agree. If you have nothing to hide, just give the codes.
I don't think we're in a situation where everything is on the up and up. so he's on crawfish this one. You know, he's on back trail. So, you know, what I would do is clean it up. Clean it up, buddy, because she's watching, my man. get a burner phone if you still got to do bad, man.
I think that
there's a reason she's asking. There's a reason she's
on
asking.
to you, player.
I think that if she is going to be going through his stuff intentionally, I do think that's an invasion of privacy.
I agree.
Like we all, if you have kids, like Fila, when your kids are little, they want to be on your phone. You don't have to ask your husband. Or your husband don't want to ask you. Unlock the phone so they get on YouTube, whatever. But and for different things, like let me have your phone if I left mine home, we're at supermarket, whatever that is. But if her intention is to invade his privacy and he feels that way, because he's not giving up the codes because, like he said, of her insecurities, because there is a level of privacy that we all should have. Because I have conversations with my girls that when I get married, my husband don't need to know them conversations because my girls are confiding in me, not him. And vice versa for my husband. My husband can have friends and they may text him and say, I'm going through something with my wife or whatever. I may be going through erectile dysfunction, whatever it might be. That's between my husband and his boy. I shouldn't be privy to to that conversation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of privacy and decency that we have to give to each other. And maybe she just hasn't shown that. Maybe she has been intrusive in his other stuff. Like I don't want nobody. My stuff would be open because I don't even care. But I wouldn't want my partner to be going through my stuff. Like, what are you doing? Because that shows me a level of insecurity in you where you feel like you got to go through my stuff. Like Dr. L said, if it's an emergency and I'm in the hospital, then, boom, we should have stuff. But there has to be a level of trust from him that if she does see something where he had a conversation with his boys, that she wouldn't go open that. Like, because why is she pressing for the passcodes? That's my question. If I was with my husband and he said, I'm not giving you the passcodes, I would just be like, I'm not going to dwell on this unless I thought that there was something going on and I needed to feel secure and be like, no, you're not giving me passcodes because you must be cheating and all. We don't have time for that at this age. Because again, all she got to do is wait to be somewhere and say, hey, what's the passcode? I want to check whatever. I left my phone home. I think she's making a big deal out of a situation for him to feel like you want to go through my shit. And that's intrusive if you just want to go through my stuff.
I think there should be access with boundaries. Yeah, right. If she has an issue with it, okay, here's a level of access I'm comfortable with, but you can't go through it all the time. And that's just the conversation you get to have. If she feels uncomfortable, okay, babe, here, you have this level of access. You already know that. But if she starts to get intrusive, then there needs to be boundaries put in place, of course. No one deserves to be nitpicked and watched and stalked in their own home or relationship. But we get to give each other access and have like common sense boundaries. Beyond that, then there are other issues at play.
I think, and this is just from a woman's standpoint, seriously, as a woman, women are nosy.
Oh, we are.
And we snoop. This is why this man don't want to give you his passcode. Because another thing about us, and we just being honest because we're bridging the gap between Generation X men and women, and I'm always going to be honest. Another thing about us, we can see something that's not nothing and make something of it. And, if you look and you're going to find something. So he's holding back because of her behaviors. Because naturally, you said, I never had to ask for my husband's passcode because it naturally happened. And that's the way it's supposed to happen. We ain't supposed to sit down and be like, you going to give me my passcode so we can have. It's supposed to naturally happen. So for her to be pressing him, something's going on deeper in their relationship, way beyond passcodes. And they both need to really go dig deeper. One, why you don't want to give her the passcodes. And two, why she won't.
Facts. Yeah, definitely.
I think why she wanted was number one.
Boundary issues.
I'd get rid of my smartphone and go give me a flip phone and be like, check that.
That's not fixing it. That's not fixing it. What'd you say, Dr. L?
Why does she want it? To me, would be number one. Is she just a routinely negative, insecure person? She's been burned before. I mean, that's what I wouldn't want to get to, because I'm not asking nobody for no phone. I got my own phone to worry about. I mean, I got other stuff to worry about. I'm not trying to read your messages and look at your pictures, and so I don't care nothing about that. So if somebody's coming to me saying this is what they need to feel secure, okay, because I'm not gonna be jumping through hoops for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna do that.
They sound like first marriage problems.
Yeah, she says, I'm not nosy, but if my intuition senses something, I will act on it. See,
there's already a breakdown there.
And there's no disrespect to you, but that intuition thing, like, we got to stop using these things as an excuse to go through somebody's phone or invade somebody's privacy. Oh, my intuition told me. And again, for us as women, a lot of times from trauma from the past, from relationship from the past, because most of us have not let go of all of our ish. We already come in, and if it looks like something to us, like, the last man used where he put his phone down because he was a lying, cheating, dirty dog. And then your man happened to put his phone down, not even intentionally, face down. And now you've been jarred. Now you like, my intuition is telling me because he put his phone down that something's going on. No, he actually just sat his phone down, face down, not even thinking that I'm putting it face down intentionally. And as women, we tend to, if we're not healed or have worked on ourselves properly, things trigger us all the time. Like, there's lots of triggers. So again, Dr. L, why you want his password so bad?
Yeah, so, I think that I'm sorry, Dr. L, go ahead.
To the intuition thing, what I assume she was saying is coming home late, things are just not adding up. That's why I attribute that to intuition. And to the putting the phone down thing, my ex said that one time. Well, you always put the phone down. Let me, and so I always put cases on my phone. So I said, okay, here you go. Right. I put it down and then I flicked it and it slid across the table. I'm like, see, there you go. That's why I put it down so the rubber sticks. She never asked that question again. so.
Yeah, I think in a secure relationship, you can have conversations like that, right? As opposed to misinterpreting insecurity as intuition, like you're saying, Trey. People who have been through things will claim it's intuition, but really it's insecurity. And if you're not insecure, you'll simply address it. Like Dr. L said, hey, I don't really like that. Could you not do that? Okay, right. I won't do it. No problem. And then we move on.
Right.
But if your intuition is making you snoop through your man's phone, that's not intuition.
Right. That's trust issues.
Exactly.
Right. So, and again, I believe too that having each other's passwords is a guardrail to make sure we stay on the up and up. Because I know you got my passwords. I think it's a protective mechanism if it's used the right way and we both agree to it. But for somebody to press somebody about their password, it concerns me that you have some issues that you need to work through. And then it'll naturally happen. For most people who trust each other, it naturally happens. So if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New U Nation Network YouTube channel. I'm your host, Trey Kearney. This is my co-host, Lamar Hall. Our special guest is in the building, Relationship Expert Fila. And of course, we got Dr. L from the Dr. L podcast, who stepped back in the building so we can have these healthy conversations and bridge the gap between Generation X men and women so we can end the gender war and just understand each other. And right now, we're doing our What Would You Do, where we answer our viewers' questions. And we're going to get to our next question. My man insists on being friends with this woman who he has been friends with since elementary school, even though I'm uncomfortable with her. I've never met this woman face to face. He mentors her 17-year-old son. I've met him. He's been to our home several times. She calls at odd hours, borrows money from him, has bumped into him when he's out with his boys. We've invited her to several events at our home. She says she's coming, but never shows up. I've asked him to exit the friendship if she doesn't think it's important to meet me. He says I'm overreacting. What do you think?
These are
Damn, it's the bitch. No.
I can't believe.
No, I'm just joking.
Listen, I can't even believe that this is a real question.
Yeah.
Right? Someone that your man has known almost all of his life and you've never met her and she disregards your presence and she breaks boundaries to call him, and we know what's happening there, and so does she. I think she's just looking for somebody to coddle her and tell her what she wants to hear, but that's not what we do here.
Right. This woman doesn't want to be around you because her body language will tell it all.
All of it.
Body language will tell everything and everybody that she in love with your man. So, and my thing is this: when you're in a relationship, your spouse matters. If your spouse says, I don't like this person, and we could talk about all this, unless she's insecure and all, no. If your spouse says, I don't like this outside person, it's interfering with our relationship. For me, if you're fighting it, you're telling me that that person is more important to you than me in this relationship, and I'm leaving. I'm exiting stage left, because no, nobody should be able to go to somebody's man and call whatever time of night. I don't care if you knew him since you can't even do that. You his sister. Tell your sister don't be calling here 1 o'clock in the morning. Unless it's an emergency, like, no, there's boundaries for everybody. We sleep. Like, what do you need? Like, why are you texting him this time of night? What couldn't wait until morning? And the problem is not her. The problem is your man. Because he should have checked her a long time ago. Listen, we didn't invited you. You making my girl feel uncomfortable. Why haven't you shown up? What's the problem? Like, he should have settled this conversation with this chick a long time ago. Your son done been to the house. Like, is it his son? Like, because see, I told you, women, our brains start going down a rabbit hole. I'm like, he over here 17, y'all known each other. The math not mathing now for me. I'm just saying how his girl probably feels. Yeah. So now it's like, why ain't she showing up? I know why women don't show up around men that they feel for, because we can't hide. If I'm in love with Lamar, I got a crush on Lamar, and I can't hide that. My body is going to gravitate toward Lamar. My laugh, my whole energy. You know, Fila, you teach this. My whole energy gonna go to him. He gonna have my whole bosom. So
everything.
That's why she's not showing up, sis. Fellas.
Yes.
No
Ain't
comment.
that. I mean,
Lamar knows what it is.
No comment.
I'm saying, do you guys have friends from back in the day? And
nah.
I have friends like that who I grew up in church with, and one was going through a really hard time, and as far as she was dealing with some dudes, and just her dad had died, and so she was calling me and stuff like that, just a trusted friend. And but she kept her distance. And Yoli asked the question, how should one strike a balance between pleasing his spouse and giving up an old friend, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with having an old friend, but you got to be respectful. Don't be calling the time of night. My friend knew what time to call. She met my wife at the time, so all that stuff. She came to the house for cookouts and stuff.
Right.
There was legitimately nothing going on. So all that just reeks of something's going on. So
right.
Yeah, it's
right.
Bad.
And again, I want to say this, because I had a situation like this many years ago with somebody I was dating. There was a woman that he worked with, like when they were younger, for years. They worked together. I was about to say where, but that will probably tell everybody who I'm talking about. So let me watch it. But they worked together for a long time. And she would, comment on Facebook. This is before Instagram was really popular or whatever, but she would comment on Facebook and say things. And I felt uncomfortable with some of the comments that she would make. So I said something to the person I was with, and I was just like, that's a little disrespectful. So, we work together, blah, blah, blah. And I was her supervisor and this, and I'm just like, nah, that was disrespectful. And she never wanted to come around, like, even when we were out somewhere and it was pertaining to that company they worked for. If I was there, she wouldn't show up. And I knew he didn't want to be with her because I don't want to call nobody ugly, but whatever. But I knew that wasn't the situation. But I knew that she liked him. He was like, no, it's not like that. And I was like, dude, you can't.
So if she was attractive, it would have been a problem?
Probably, yes. I ain't gonna lie.
Listen, sometimes the ugly ones treat them the best. So I don't put nothing past nobody.
No, I don't either.
That's true. They got to try harder, right? They got to try
there
harder.
You go.
They gotta try harder. No, but there were times when I made comments to him and we had conversations about it where he wasn't like, he was like, I'll never talk to her again. I don't have a problem with that. Like, so it wasn't a problem for me because he was like, I don't care if I never see this again. But the thing about it was, I want to say to him that it may not be him, but if the woman's not coming around, I guarantee you she has feelings for him. And she does not want it to be exposed in front of you. Sometimes men, I'm not talking about y'all bad, but sometimes y'all be oblivious to stuff. Like, I'm just like, you can't tell that this woman is flirting with you or this. No, like what?
Yeah, I can't tell.
I can't. You know why? Because if you do, the rule is if you assume shit, you make ass out of you and me. So men just, you gotta slap me in the face and be like, "Hey, stupid, come here." I'm like, listen.
Here is my phone number. You got to do that. You got to do. I miss it all the time. I've driven away. Like, was this girl trying to talk to me?
Yes.
I just don't know.
I think there's two problems here, though, Trey. Right? With the women, we know as women and as a coach who works with women, the biggest problem with women is that women fantasize and romanticize every man in their life. So if he is playing a part in her child's life, if they have this connection, she has romanticized him. And at some point, she has imagined herself with him romantically and intimately, because that is what women do. We make up shit, right? In our own heads, for the good or not for the good. And then with him, if you really care about your spouse, you're going to do everything in your power to bring these women together, to quell some of the issues that they have, if this is your friend from childhood and you care about your spouse. So both of them are kind of playing this little game. And even if they're not in a cheating dynamic, they're still in a relationship dynamic.
Yes.
She's playing a father role in her son's life.
Yes.
She's asking him for money. So the boundaries are all mucky. And I don't want to tell nobody to leave their man, but sis needs to have a very strong conversation with him.
Right. I totally agree.
She's
And
probably leave it.
I have a best male friend, and his lady, he made sure I met her. Right, even when if we're on the phone, if she's in his vicinity, I'm like, hey girl, there is nothing that and if she had a problem with me, I would step back respectfully because he's my friend. And if she felt any kind of way, I wouldn't even put that pressure on him. And women tend to do that. I knew him since since the sandbox. I ain't going nowhere. You have to be able to step back when a man moves on with a woman in his life that he's serious with. And you have to be able to feel the energy to say, I'm overstepping a boundary with this woman, and I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. So a lot of times we don't look like that as women. When we have a male friend, we think that we own him or he's obligated in some sort of way to pick us over their woman. So like I said, I have a best male friend. I love his girlfriend. And if she ever, had a problem, or if she ever felt uncomfortable, I would step away and say, I want the best for him. So I want the best for you. And if you feel some kind of way, hey, he would never have to choose between me or her. That's just not in me as a friend to him.
Kudos to y'all for having childhood friends, because I don't have any. And my girl cousins, they bulldog that type of stuff. Well, they used to, but I mean, I don't have any childhood friends.
Shoot, I dropped my glasses, and I
don't have any male friends. I think that 98% of the time when grown women and grown men are friends, at least one of them is interested in the other beyond friendship. So not 100% of the time, but most of the time, right? And people are willing to wait it out, especially men, because y'all are persistent when you want something. So I don't do the male friend thing. Colleagues working together, absolutely. But we just friends because we just met on the golf course? No, I don't do that.
I don't believe in new opposite sex friends.
Okay, there you go.
I don't believe in that at all. Like, you ain't making no friend at work. 50. You go to work, like my mother used to say, you go to school to learn, not make friends. You go to work to make money, not make friends. You're not making no friends at the gym. But I know that we all had a life before each other. We all had friends from school. We all went to high school with people. We know we're going to see people at the reunions. And sometimes it was male and female friends. And I don't think it's a problem with that. I just think when boundaries are crossed, or when a woman or a man feels uncomfortable, that the outside friend should fall back. That's just my thought.
Agreed.
The other person shouldn't have to say, my girl don't, I gotta choose. If my friend ever came to me and said she uncomfortable, I would tell him, don't worry about it. I'll hit you on Christmas. Merry Christmas, happy birthday, happy New Year. When your grandbaby birthday and all. But other than that, I won't call you no more unless she wants to be involved with us in any kind of way. Other than that, I would just step off, because that's just being an adult at our age. So if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. And we are answering our viewers' questions. I think we got time for one more, then we're going to move on to our next segment. Ooh. I'm 42 years old. My husband is 47. We've been married for 2 years. My husband has 2 children from his first marriage. I have none. Before we got married, we agreed to having more children, at least one. Recently, at his son's graduation, while talking to his children's mom, she unknowingly disclosed to me that this man had a vasectomy. When I asked, he confirmed it. All this time, I've been trying to get pregnant and thinking it was me. I am pissed. Do I have a right to get a divorce?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That divorce contract is null and void.
Yeah, especially if you
might even be an annulment. You might even be qualified for an annulment. I don't know how long that is, but you got married under false pretenses. Expecting to have children. Yeah, you might be able to get that annulled. Yeah.
What kind of conversations did y'all have that you didn't know the content? And I'm not judging, that you didn't know the content of this man's character. Like, how long were y'all dating? Because character shows up. Like, different things. If he lied about this, he just lied about everything. Like, you just living a lie right now. Like, seriously, like, this is not some little white lie. Like, this is a whole, you've been manipulated into a marriage that you never would have went into knowing this. But this is what we have to watch out for, men and women. People are not honest because they want what they want. He wanted her. And most people will lie in your face. Like, we talk about, polygamy and different things like that, or men wanting to see more than one woman. But how many men will not tell the truth because they know that woman will walk away, or the fear of her walking away if I say, I want to date more than one woman, or whatever that thing might be. A lot of us operate out of fear, and we manipulate people, and we say whatever we gonna say to get them to stick around, because certain things. Because of course, if he said I had a vasectomy, I'm not having any more kids, she would have left. So the only thing he could do, because he wanted her, unfortunately, was to lie. Well, girl, yeah, you could divorce him tomorrow. No way.
But who's trying to have a kid at 40, man? It's like, what are you doing?
She's 42.
But now, man, when they met, they were 40. Like, why are you waiting till 40 to have a kid? It's like,
I had a kid at 39, sir.
It's not healthy.
Purpose.
You shouldn't be planning. I mean, I don't know if yours was planned, but I'm just like, right. What I'm saying is that accidents happen. Well, I'll give you a grace, but for you to lay up and be like, I'm 40, I need to have a baby.
Well, there are a lot of women who are pursuing education and pursuing career and making lots of money. And there actually is a study recently that came out that shows that this is the first time in history when older women are having more babies than younger women, because of the economy, because of society, because of certain pressures. So, there you go with that.
I mean, it's fine, but I mean, you have to take in the risk. I knew a woman got second marriage. She married somebody that didn't have kids. She had a kid at 44 and the baby had Down syndrome. So, I mean, you have to understand that those risks are there. So
they are. They're not as common as they like to make you believe.
Right.
In this case, I think it speaks to something that I often tell clients. I say, expect people to lie to you in the beginning, right? have an expectation that people are not going to be honest in the way that we think they are. Women are also like I said, we have these fantasies. And what men do when they come into our lives is feed the fantasy, because you have an agenda. You want what you want. And men generally have needs. And what women do when they're trying to manipulate men is they nurture that need. So women are nurturing his need. Men are feeding her fantasy because we just want to get what we want. And you have to be able to form a deeper connection so that you can see who that individual is. But once somebody says what you want to hear, oftentimes women stop hearing, stop seeing, and just hold on to that. There's no way that you could be in a whole relationship, get married, and not have any idea that this man doesn't want children unless you were not completely paying attention.
That part. Yes. Because like I said, one of his kids is graduating. Like, there's some telltale signs. Like, he has 2 kids. I'm sure they're probably close in age. If one is graduating, they're 18. So the other one's probably 16. A lot of men don't want to start over. And we have to realize this for ourselves as women. And 40 for her, not having any kids. And maybe she's never been married. She said his first marriage, he had 2 kids. She said, I'm 40, I don't have any kids. And when we got together, we discussed this. And he said that we would have more kids, at least 1. If somebody has adult children, 9 times out of 10, we don't want to start over. Nobody wants to have a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old and a 3-month-old, especially not a man in his late 40s. He don't want to be running around outside chasing no football. Like, he trying to travel. And go ahead, Lamar.
Men will make that decision depending on how fine that woman is.
Oh.
So that's the end all be all. So I almost made it a couple of times, and I'm glad I didn't do it. I had a vasectomy, and I actually went to the doctor to get it reversed and looked at him. And he looked at me, and he was like, I think I was 45 or 46, and he was like, well, how old is the woman? I said, she's 24. He was like, good to go. So I didn't do it, but we talked about it. So, but I knew that was going to happen. I knew that conversation was coming. I can't ask a woman under the age of 30 not to have children if I'm dating her.
No, I agree with that. If it's a young woman, no, for sure. Yeah. That's all it takes. That's how you know she's baby mama material. She fine. And that's it.
No. We had a 4-year relationship. I'm saying that you will bend the rules for fine women. Your eyes will deceive you.
There is a pretty privilege. You ain't lying.
Well, it is.
Dr. L, you wanted to say something?
I ain't having no more babies. I'm 52. There was a guy I work with. He got his wife pregnant. And his youngest was in college. And he comes home one day and he hears the baby crying. His wife had the baby. He's like, who's crying? This dude forgot he had a baby. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, bro, man, what, you did it to yourself, man. He was in his. I think he was quite a bit older than me. He was like in his 50s. I was like 42 or something like that. He was like in his 50s. Like, bro, man, why did you do that, man? He's like, my brother's crying in my house.
My brother's 48 with a 3-year-old.
Do they have a nanny?
I think that's wild. I wouldn't do it because, again, I don't want to be changing diapers. Just everything we talked about, just the health, the potential health risks of someone. I'm done.
I only contemplated it because I was like, if she's 5'10", if she played college basketball, if she's the woman of my dreams, okay, I'll have a light skin shack. I'm good.
Oh, no. Well, if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. Do we want to do one more question, or do we want to get to our next segment?
One more question. We're good.
Yeah, let's do one more question.
We'll do one more question.
And before we do that, shout out to the ex-wife, because I don't know if that was an accident. Maybe she was doing sis a solid by letting her know.
Right. Shout out to for letting her, because when that conversation come up, because she might have said something about having a baby. She probably said, I know Leroy glad he got that vasectomy, girl, because you would have been messed up by now. She probably was like,
that wasn't no lookout. That was a setup.
Well, thank you, sis, because she needed to know.
Right.
My boyfriend gets mad because I can go to my son's father for financial help when he can't do it. There is nothing going on between me and him. I went to my son's father because my car was about to get repossessed. He gave me the money to keep my car. I can't be without a car, and he didn't have it. I didn't do it behind his back. I let him know I was going to do it. There has been other instances where he couldn't help, and I explained to him what affects me affects my son. So why shouldn't I go to his father? Am I wrong? Fellas,
Yo, what
Yeah,
is going on? Are these
what
real
the hell?
questions? I mean,
yeah, yeah. You're wrong. I mean, you giving another man a little bit more authority above your household, and he's you women don't understand how other men look at other men, and it's like you can son him. It's like you actually are sonning this guy. It's like you're making him look like a little boy that y'all can't put y'all problems together and and work it out. So she's wrong.
It reminds me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it reminds me of Dead Presidents, the movie with Cuddy used to pull up in his Cadillac and throw a few dollars after her husband came home. That's gonna undermine your entire relationship with your man. You can't take money from another man. It emasculates him every single time that you do it, and it gives another man a leg up. That's just completely inappropriate.
But they have a son together.
Then he's supposed to support his son, not support you as a single woman.
So let me ask this, because we're having this conversation so that other people can understand why this is wrong. She has a son. She won't have a car, right? Boom, to get her son around. Old boy can't pay. So her car is going to get repossessed. And again, it is going to affect her son. We don't know if the son is 3, 15, however old. But it is going to affect them, being able to get in football practice, school, whatever. So what is she supposed to do if he's not capable of helping her? And her car
is in that relationship because you have a child and you're bringing a man into your life who's not financially equipped to be a stepfather or father figure. So all she's doing is undermining the dynamic that she has with her partner when clearly he is not equipped or ready or stable enough to be a partner to her as a mother. As a mother, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. May not be time for you to have another man in your life if he's not adding to it. And I don't want to judge her and say like she's wrong for doing this, but it's not going to help the dynamic of that relationship. And now you having problems in that relationship, that's going to affect the son negatively as well. So they need to just break up and end that because they're not in the position to build no family together. She might as well just be single.
Why is he sticking around though? This would be my question to the guys. If this is going on, why is he bickering back and forth over this instead of walking away? Because he has control over the situation. If this bothers you, that this woman's ex is supplying whatever you need because you guys have a child together, why are you sticking around?
Because he's financially compromised. He probably doesn't have enough to make it on his own, and so he's using her for some type of assistance. So so that's what's going on there, right? Otherwise he would have put his foot down. He would, if he had enough, maybe he has enough to live. If he had enough to live on his own, he would have just moved out and said, listen, I'm not dealing with that, right? You're still going back to her. I may not have it to be able to support you, but if I'm not gonna have no other man in my house. There's no other man. And this is where I really want men to understand is how we got to move. You can't have no other man in your house. There's only one man that lives in my house. That's me. If my son moves in, my cousin moves in, I'm the man of the house. You something else. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm the man of this house. And that's the way I think the men got to think. And somebody else is dipping and dabbing and got a foot in your house and still got a hole in your wife or girlfriend, or she still feels as if he is a resource.
You need to step your game up, son. Like your woman shouldn't have to go to another man for anything. Period.
Step up or step out.
And the both of them are the problem because she should be okay by herself. And I'm not judging her because whatever her circumstance or situation is, she should be okay by herself before getting into another relationship with somebody, knowing she's dependent on this man to make sure she's okay. Because both of them are unfit to be in relationships right now. He can't provide for a woman that he wants to be with, and she can't provide for herself outside of this child's father. So both of y'all need to fall back because y'all both wrong. Because no man should be able to come to your house and have one up on you like Lamar and be able to son you like Lamar said. That man should come to that door and you should be able to say, here's your son, keep it moving. But being that he dishing out the dough, he get to come to the door and be like, what's up? What's up, ninja?
Give me some water, man.
Right, you can get a sandwich.
Lemonade.
Make me a sandwich.
Where my girl at? So if you just tuned in, you tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New U Nation Network YouTube channel. That was our segment, What Would You Do? And right now we are going to get to our segment, Let's Sip on That, where we do our celebrity relationship talk. And this is what we're going to watch today. Y'all listen up.
Marry because I knew that I would not be able to have the life that I had dreamed if I married. I didn't marry because I've been partnered with Stedman since 1785. And he is a wonderful man, but he is also a traditional man who had his own ideas about what being a wife was. What I realized, and this is what you all to know for yourself, I wanted to feel worthy enough to be asked. And the day he asked me, I started to feel like, oh God, what does it really mean to be married? That's when I started to ask the questions about what that really meant.
I am choicefully single, happily, gloriously single. And I do wish there were more examples. And one of the reasons I'm okay talking about it, and by the way, My Life Is Mine, that speech really was geared towards that. I was like, I at the time was 45 years old and single, and I had just pushed out my 5th kid on television.
The irony of that.
In that context, so many people ask the question, have you ever thought about having children? My child gave my life meaning. I'm like, are you saying my life is not meaningful?
Yeah.
And because of the structure that we live in, it is so easy for me to feel undermined with all the accomplishment that I've had. And my accomplishments, I don't mean the Whopper stuff. I mean, I take the garbage out before it stinks. I eat food that's good for me. I get my sleep. I show up for my friends. And that makes a life very meaningful. And somehow the rug gets pulled out so quickly when people put me in the, you should be married. Why aren't you married yet? What's wrong with you?
I couldn't hear that.
Let's deal with Oprah first. So y'all just jump right in for Stedman, because you want this man to ask you to marry him. You knew he was a traditional man. So Fila, ladies first.
I think that at different points in your life, you learn to want different things. I remember watching Oprah as a child, coming home from school and it being on Family Members. And I specifically remember an episode of Oprah pouring out her heart, being disappointed because she was not married to Stedman and that was what she wanted most in the world at that time. And so I think sometimes we have a good partner and we have a good relationship and we learn to let go of the little girl dreams and fantasies we have as we grow into womanhood and as we grow into that relationship. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that Stedman was really calling the shots and that Oprah kind of had to get in line. And I know people might be upset because everybody likes to think about Oprah as the boss of bosses. But I do feel like Stedman got to decide how their relationship went. And at some point, she had to learn to accept that and to agree with it. That's just my opinion.
I think Stedman is a simp. No, let me stop. I'm just joking, Stedman.
Lamar Jr. over here.
No, I'm just saying, listen. She said Stedman proposed to her and was a very traditional man. Mm-hmm. So how did you end up as a very traditional man? We know what traditional men want. They want a traditional marriage with a wife and some kids. And you settled because of what? because she's Oprah, I'm not understanding. I don't think he put his foot down. I think he did what she wanted when he wanted a wife. And that's why.
Did he want a wife? Because I remember Oprah used to cry on her show about wanting to be his wife and him not asking.
But he did ask eventually, because you can't,
yeah,
you just can't make a man ask you to marry him. He had to get to know her and move. But when it was time for him to propose, when he felt like it, it just wasn't the time. She was crying and all that because it wasn't the time, because he hadn't decided. But she said Stedman is a traditional man that wanted a traditional marriage. What would keep you from getting the things that you want as a man, knowing that this is what you wanted, that you would, maybe the word is not simp, or maybe it is. Guys?
So let's reverse the roles on this.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
It's a billionaire man and there's a woman. And now this is the difference between men and women. This guy isn't talking about, she wasted my life, wasted my youth, wasted all my time because I'm a traditional man and that's what I wanted. So let's identify that. Stedman's like, all right, cool, it is what it is. I'll rock with it. Now that decision is only made because who she is. You know, most men are not going to sit into this role of being, I don't know, catered to. You're the wife. You are the female in the relationship. She's calling all the shots. So that's a very low percentage of men to me. I listen. This is what you guys wanted. This is feminism at its greatest. This is the root of it. You wanted to have choices. You wanted to be able to move like men. This is what you want. So do what you want. This is absolutely what you guys fought for. You wanted equality. Be like men. Act like men.
No.
Do it. I mean, no. That's what this is. This is what these two women will influence other women that this is the right path. And if that's, you guys can do it. It's your choice. Is it? But we have two women here that are probably going like, not necessarily. So, hey, listen, that's the whole beauty of it. Feminism at its best, you know. And I think that they did a good job on you guys to make you feel like being a wife and having children and that's not meaningful in life. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's your choice, your body, your life. Do what you do, but you cannot retract and feel any type of way afterwards. You can't.
I think women do have the choice though, right? Children is not going to be the choice for every woman. And like I said, at different points in your life, you're going to want different things. If you reach a point like Oprah or like Tracy Ellis Ross, where you see that you can make profound impact in other ways, then maybe you decide not to have children. And that isn't necessarily bad or wrong. It's the right choice for them. And I also think that we have to be mindful of recognizing that Stedman is also an accomplished person in his own right and has his own money and own things. And so at some point, I think each of them recognized there was a benefit to the relationship that worked for them, and marriage and children was off the table.
I was going to ask, does Stedman have children? I don't know.
I believe he may have some from a previous marriage.
Oh,
I believe he does.
Yeah, then it's fine then. Yeah, it's fine then.
Right, so it's like signed up for it then. That tells me it right there. Yeah. This billionaire woman wants to be with me and don't get married and already got kids. Sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up. Yeah. So I think that in that respect, I think that no matter I don't know that much about Oprah and Stedman or the previous shows she did where she's crying on his shoulder, etc., or crying on the show about not being married. But I would say that I think that both of those ladies really just didn't want to be under a traditional man. And Tracy Ellis Ross has recently said this, where she's now dating younger men because the men of her age want a traditional woman. And she just doesn't want to do that. So now she wants to be the shot caller. She wants to be the sugar mama and whatever. That's her. I agree with Lamar. I think that's probably going to be a negative if other ladies try to imitate that. But that's what's going on. So.
Wow. But my point was, when Oprah came in, she said, I didn't get married. I decided not to get married. Instead, they wanted traditional marriage. So for me to see a man sit back and decide that I'm going to give up my wishes instead of moving on, to what he wanted is just a red flag for me. Like,
But he got, if he has kids, he's got the kids. I have a woman who's got a bunch of stuff, and I got access to her body. What do I need? What else? What do I need? A sandwich
And
every
that
now
would have
and
been
then?
his second marriage because he was previously married and has children from the first marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So
Was
I,
he previously
what
married?
do you?
Yes.
I don't know.
Trey?
Somebody says their daughter. They would be good.
He has a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
According to AI, Stedman has one daughter. Okay.
If he really wanted to get married, if that marriage was a deal breaker, he would have left her. If he's got his own money, he would have left her and just did whatever. Right? If he got one daughter, he wanted more kids, or he wanted someone to be more of a traditional woman to him while he's doing whatever, he would have done it. So he definitely chose a path that I think is okay with him. And why leave a good thing?
Mm. Well, if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. We're here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this, please hit that thank you button. Make a donation to keep us going so I don't have to do all the editing. But anyway, we appreciate if you say thank you. Give us a super. Shout out to the panel right now. This was, again, a very interesting conversation, but we do have to do our last segment really quickly before you go. We're going to do our health and wellness segment, which is the Beauty and the Beast segment. Fila and Dr. L, do you have a health and wellness tip for the week?
Do you want to go first, Dr. L?
I don't know what I said last week, but I'll just say just get in the gym and stay there. Eat right, exercise, stay away from fats and grease and fried foods and all that kind of stuff, and just more fruits and veggies. Keep working out.
Gym is your friend.
Get out in the sun. Get out and get you some sun so that you can make that vitamin D, so that you can recalibrate your nervous system. Fresh air and sun is good for your mental, your emotional, your physical health and well-being. And for those of us who are in the Northeast, like myself in New York, we know when the fall comes, there is no sun. So get as much sun as you can get because it is good for your entire holistic health system.
Lamar?
All right, I got my men's health tips. So 5 men's health tips. Tame your stress. You got to tame your stress. We all know that. Stay hydrated. Get your fluids. Sleep soundly. They recommend 7 to 9 hours a day. As the older we get, sleep becomes more important. Change your food focus. This is portion control. The older you get, your portions should start getting smaller. Because you're going to put more weight on. And then nix the negative lifestyle habits, drinking moderately, smoking, things of that nature. So, just as we get older, like I said, one of my favorite comedians, Bill Burr, and in 53 to 58 for men, we hit that little danger zone where you're just walking and you're over, it's like for no reason, so if you're not taking your health serious, I posted something on Instagram and it referred, if you could have your dream car, but you knew you only had this one car your entire life, you take care of it. You clean it, you put the best gas in it, you do everything. So that's your body. So
yes. And my health and wellness tip is every day, just take some time for you. If it's 10 minutes, if it's 5 minutes, 15, 10, just take some time for you to just turn everything off, turn off social media, get off your phone, get away from your computer, get away from your kids, get away from your husband, your girlfriend, get away from your job. Just take a few minutes to just sit by yourself. Even if you got to go in the closet and just breathe. We are going through a lot right now. It is serious out here. There's a lot of things causing us anxiety. There's a lot of things causing us unnecessary anxiety, things that are out of our control. So whenever you take that moment to breathe and just let everything go, it will reset your nervous system because we just nervous. So thank you, Dr. L. Thank you, Fila. Lamar, always thank you because you're here with me every week. But I do have to say thank you to everybody, Garrett, NW, Yoli, hold on, October 3074, Al. Hey, Al, what up? We see you this week. What up, Al? Kathleen. Hey, Kathleen. We just want to shout y'all a high vibe. Thank you so much for tuning in. We just want to thank you guys for tuning in. And thank y'all to the 11,000, probably 12,000 by now, watching the video from these three last week.
These 4.
And
Oh,
no, I wasn't in the conversation. I was just moderating in that moment. Y'all was going in. But from the comments, Lamar, you got mom and dad issues. Dr. L, you got erectile dysfunction.
And what I got?
Fila, just because you married don't make you no professional. Don't make you know everything. But they was going in. So we thank y'all for engaging.
I love it.
In the comments. Yes. And we will see y'all next week, same time, same bad station. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button, share, tell a friend, and come back next week. So thank you so much. Peace and blessings. We will see you guys soon.
Thank you, guys.